When a is a positive real number, the principal square root of negative a is defined as follows. So whenever we have a negative inside the square root, we would be stopping, but now that we have these imaginary numbers, we can do some more work with them. So this can be written as the square root of -1 times a, since -1 times a is just -a. And then what I can do is, since I know I squared is equal to -1, I can write down I squared times I, and the square root of I squared comes out as I square root of a. So from now on, whenever you see a negative inside of the square root, we can rewrite this and replace this negative with I squared, which comes out as I. And so we get this here. So square root of -a is the same as I square root of a. Write the complex number in standard form. So the first thing you want to do is take care of these negatives. Since I have a negative here, I can rewrite it as I. It takes care of that negative. And then inside I have square root of 14 times, I have a negative here, I'm going to use I to take care of that negative, square root of 2. Then step 2, we multiply. So we have I times square root of 14 times I square root of 2. So that's going to give me I times I is I squared, and 14 times 2 is square root of 28. And then step 3 is to simplify. So I have I squared, square root of 28 can be written as I squared. And you want to find a perfect square for this 28. So for example, a perfect square would be 4 times 7. 4 is perfect. We can take the square root of 4. And so this would give me the square root of 4 is 2. I squared, and 7 stays inside the square root. Then you want to replace I squared with -1. So 2 times -1 is -2. So your final answer is -2 square root of 7. So again, first we take care of these negatives by replacing this negative with I squared, which comes out as I. So anytime you see a negative, we write it out as I. Multiply I times I is I squared. 14 times 2 is 28. The 28 can be written as 4 times 7, where 4, taking the square root of 4 would give me a 2. And then we replace I squared with -1. Okay, so let's try this one here. Again, first take care of these negative. So I get I square root of 8 plus I square root of 50. To add two radicals, the radicands, the numbers inside have to be the same. So first let's simplify 8. 8 can be written as 4 times 2. Okay, so the square root of 4 would be a 2. Since we have a 2 left in here, when we write 50, we want to make sure that we're using that 2 as well. So 2 times what would give me 50? 25 times 2. Square root of 25 is 5. And now we can add these together since they have the same radicand. So to add them together, we add the coefficients here. 2i plus 5i is 7i. And then the square root of 2 remains the same. Let's look at letter C. So I have -2 plus square root of -3 squared is going to be equal to, I'm going to rewrite this as the following. So I'm going to multiply this out. Or we can take care of this negative first. So I can rewrite this as I square root of 3, and negative 2 plus I square root of 3. So negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Negative 2 times I cubed square root of 3 is negative 2I square root of 3. And the next one is negative 2I square root of 3. And I times I is I squared. Square root of 3 times square root of 3 is square root of 9. Gather our like terms, so we're going to have 4. Negative 2I minus 2I is negative 4I. Square root of 3 plus, for I squared, I'm going to replace it with negative 1. Square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3 times negative is negative 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. And so this would be our answer.